just had, well.
Uh-oh, his computer's not on.
No, it's not.
Did you make
Oh, there
that?
it is.
It popped
Got
up.
it, okay.
It's just doing its own thing.
Oh, I was smarting
Okay.
This is the agenda right here.
How come I can't mortgage it?
Sorry
You
about that.
said,
Let's get a motion to approve last, I lost my,
Go right here.
let me put on my other items too, man. Can't have
This
C.
is the draft. This is the-
Sorry about that. I usually not chit chat. I've been meeting with attorney all day, so,
It's not going on. How do you get it to do it?
oh, just roll it backwards there.
It's not going on.
Don't you be like that.
Do it right here and put it.
There, it's supposed to roll, there.
He got it. Go a little higher. It's just
Can you
okay.
sit in there?
No, their deal is the same.
I can see it.
Okay.
The other no is it just
Motion to
it
approve.
allows you to
You have to have the order.
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting to order.
search previous.
Y'all seen my gavel? Okay. Okay. We get approval of last meeting's agenda, please.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Can we get a second?
I'll second.
All right. So moved, is carried. Okay, next order of business. Consider the meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of October 1st, 2018.
second.
All right. Yeas have it. Okay, non-action items. I guess that would be, we don't really have non-action. Discussing scored. Okay, I guess that would be James or?
Sure. Yes, sir. So what we did was we went through and we made the updated, mainly a lot of deletions to old language. If you look under, on page 1, sections, remove the advisory committee authority to appoint, which is section 2.84.050. And then remove section 2.84.090, which was inability to pay dues. Some of the other changes that we had was vacancies as far as to get board member terms to coincide to where our board terms will be all reappointed for the various boards and commissions we have with the city. Change it to where terms would begin on July 1st. On page 2, we changed regular item C, hold at least one regular meeting each quarter. We often don't have really anything too much to report on a monthly basis, and then it actually costs money for us to cancel a meeting or have a meeting, so change that to meeting each quarter. Deleted section D because, which this is keep a public record of its transactions, finding resolutions, and determinations. Since this is commission appointed, minutes are always taken, so that's kind of redundant. And then as far as the annual budget, we removed that. That's actually the department head's responsibility. Some updated language in powers and limitations. Let's see, and of course, to answer Herb's question, you can't basically put a mortgage on the youth center. And of course, the advisory committee. That's what this body is for. I mean, the youth center board, it used to say, have further authority to appoint an advisory committee composed of interested citizens of the city. So basically, you all would be a commission appointed board, but then you could turn around and appoint another
To do our job.
body. Yeah, exactly. So that really didn't make sense. On the youth advisory board, we left that in. You know, after the discussion, from what I can recall, really this was just teaching them civic responsibility. We did remove the treasurer position since they won't be handling any money. That's kind of a moot point. And then, of course, bylaws approval. This body operates under ordinance. Let's see, any funds deposited with the city clerk. Actually, there needs to be one other change. Remove city clerk, change it to finance department or finance director. And pretty much that was all of the updates that we did to the particular ordinance. The next thing that we would do for this would be to present this as a discussion item at our next city commission meeting.
You got any comments, thoughts on all that from anybody? Herb? Marlon?
Looks good to me.
Bob?
Excuse me, I was going to say, I appreciate somebody taking the time going through this and really cleaning it up because it looks good.
It does, it looks good. I don't really have anything on it myself. I'm just right now getting into sync of things, so y'all got to excuse me. My mind's elsewhere right now. Well, there was one thing that you spoke with me about, Marla.
Well, it was about the youth council, but they've left it in there.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do a junior youth council like they have a junior varsity football, or, I mean, if she wants to do something like that, we could do that.
And what was the age limits on that? I didn't even, I must have missed
Well,
that.
the age limit on the youth council is 13 to 18.
13, 18.
So I would say like 6 to 12 for the junior members. I mean, if she wants to do that.
Well, that's
Kind of getting them ready for being on the youth council.
That's a very good idea. I mean, you know, young people, the quicker they can learn, you know, what goes on behind the youth board or youth council and on with the youth center, that is an awesome idea for the young people to stay involved or get involved. Okay.
And I do know that Mara said something about at the last meeting that she wanted, and so did Kay, to meet with some of the youth council kids.
Yes.
We've had them on the board before, and they've missed, you know, they'd come 1 or 2 meetings, and but if they want to, in their meeting, if they decide they want to have somebody come visit with us, then I think that would be good too.
So is there anything else you guys would like to bring up at this time, or? I think James pretty well covered the bulk of it.
I think it looks good.
Wow, this is probably going to be the fastest
World's
meeting
shortest meeting.
we ever had. Well, I guess if there, Melinda, you actually have anything you want to add to that?
We could look at, you know, since Melinda's brought this up, we could look at maybe moving the youth advisory board election to January. Either that or you do it in November. I don't know. There's a couple of options. We could do it in January so you could run it on a calendar year. Another option is to do it in March to coincide with the city's or municipal officer election day. But that only occurs every 2 years. And then another option is to do it in November during the general elections. That way, you know, you just get kids engaged and used to voting. I don't know, there's different avenues. We could change that date. We obviously can't have one this November, but we could from...
Now this is for the youth council.
This is for the youth, yes, for the youth council.
I think March would be a better shot because you're giving them almost a full school year to be in there. They don't base their years on January.
Well, I think that's why it was in September.
Right.
That was in September of each year after school started in August.
So that was just a thought. I mean, we can leave it in September. We can still have a special election to get folks back, get this going once again. But I kind of view this as a primer of getting people used to, or kids in the habit of going out and voting. And so March and November are the two months where you have your at least in New Mexico, where you have your elections. So,
Could we have a special election to get it started,
mhm.
like say like in January and then next
Just have to
November have,
adjust.
then,
Just
Get on the
adjust the
schedule.
terms,
yeah,
so.
And would that would actually have to be brought before the commission,
all this will.
or this?
Yeah, well, the
well,
ordinance change
this
would,
ord-
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, all this,
Would
so.
we wanna elect them for a short term or elect them for a longer term that would continue around?
Now, we could actually put language in here to, do staggered terms as well.
You know?
To basically restart it, since we haven't had official elections in probably decades. But we can actually change the language to where, you know, once this is adopted, we have a special election, and then on this date, these positions would be up for election. That would be really easy. It's just a matter of, do we want to leave it in September, or do you want to?
I think it would work good in November if we could have a special one to go ahead and get it started now.
So I have mixed feelings about having it in November. Mainly speaking from a municipal standpoint and what the state's tried to do,
Yeah,
where they're taking local control away and where they want you to basically adopt an ordinance to opt in and pay the Secretary of State and all of this. I mean, this is a municipal organization. That's just my opinion. I mean, I prefer to do the March, even though the big time presidential elections, you know, governor elections are in November. We would be the only ones doing something in March. So, I mean, what I'm saying is that the date, we can change the language in this for the date that it's effective. Within X number of days, we would conduct a special election to establish a term. Just like how when you start up a new board, which we had to do for the Parks and Rec, it just, we identify, well, the terms expire this, terms will expire this. It's just extra verbiage. It's just a matter of when do you want the regular election to be held?
and
September, October.
there's only three positions, there's president, vice president, and,
No, there's 7 members. Each member has to be elected.
How do you
Remember
feel
what?
about that? You like it in March? I'm with James on the November thing, because we've discussed that in regular commission meetings on.
What I was thinking of is if, you know, any seniors you have on this board, at the end of school, they're probably going to, you know, and so you're gonna have to come up and re-elect, you're gonna be short board members because of the absence of the seniors you had on there, if you had it.
Mhm.
So you'd have to turn around and elect.
You could probably have it to where, because right now this is a 4-year term. You could have it to where the staggered terms begin, to where every year you have that election. On those 7 members, you just do a, 4-3-3 or whatever you want to do.
You know, you throw it down up and it'll fall
Mhm.
here or here. I mean, I'd like to see it placed more with the school year, one way or the other, either at the end of the school year or the first.
I think that's why it was September, that was more of the school year.
Because that way they get a full year and then come around to summertime, a lot of them will be gone anyway.
So Melinda, it's your theory, you thinking we should stick with September? Or how do you feel about that?
It really didn't matter, I just wanted to see how we get it started, which you already answered that question, so the month doesn't, September, probably work good. But then if we're doing this to show them the different aspects of city government and stuff, then I would suggest March.
And I don't know how y'all feel about it, but y'all heard my opinion. I'm with the March deal for the kids. Because if, like Herb says, if you wait, you know, November, December, January, or March, May, they'll be gone. But
So,
we
none of,
must
you know,
take a
September,
vote on it, or
that's great,
whatever.
that'd give them time to get back to school and then they'd have a full year for the winter months.
well, would it be like
Summer vacation.
the ones in November now with big government, they don't take office till January. So the ones in March, would they not take office until May?
I don't think we have to get that. I just think it's just like our city officials, that we have that first Tuesday is the municipal election, and then that following Monday they take office.
Okay.
So you could have it the same day. We don't have to get the city
Yeah.
clerk involved in this. Keep it simple and check yes or no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we have to get that complicated.
I mean, we're looking at what, seven positions?
7 positions, and then they basically would elect their own.
Off there.
Right. They'll much like the city commission does.
So if we put 3 on in March and turn around and let them serve, start to say let them serve through to the next September with the other 4 that come on in September.
I would think start 3 of them out with a 4-year term, 2 of them out with a. Yeah, 3 of them out with a 4-year term, 2 of them out with a 3-year term, 1 with a 3-year and 1 with a 4-year. And then after that, it's just 4-year on the election. And the reason you stagger that is so that way, let's say that we get we get a 13-year-old
Yeah.
who gets selected for a 4-year term. You've got that continuity and sense of history, instead of just, everybody gone, but the majority of the board would be there for 3 years. And then after that, you just serve a 4-year term.
That way they can train each other,
Right.
bring them up.
Now, if you're gonna do it like that, say the 4-year term is gonna be like the president.
Mm-mm.
Will a senior be able to run for that?
No, the president is elected by the members of the
By
board.
like the commission?
Correct.
Okay.
And the easiest, most fair way to do it is to do it by lots initially. So these 7 people get elected to it, and you basically draw the term out of a hat, and that would be the fairest way. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for a senior to have, a 4-year term, but, that's also, part of governments. I mean, you can run for certain positions, run for certain terms, and you may or may not get it. I think it would just be simple just to get it going.
Yeah.
Because we're more than likely gonna experience, vacancies, at that point, because of, kids moving away, losing interest, stuff like that.
No, sounds good. Well, everybody pretty much agree. Can we get a motion on that from?
Actually, it's a non-action
Or
item.
well,
so-
that's true, non-action
Well,
item.
we can just pass this
We'll
along,
pass it to
make
the-
those language changes and get that done.
To use
What
to the other
language you
half.
gonna use? I think Rick did think.
We don't,
Melinda, how many
So-
high school seniors or juniors or sophomores?
so,
The
I
numbers.
don't have a lot of high school kids. There's some, but not. Most of them are my elementary up to 6th grade, and then I have, like, the older ones come in, but they only come in for basketball, video games.
so mostly the junior high, mid-high,
Yeah, I do have, like, the guys that come in and play basketball regularly, the kids, they're high school, but they just come in and play basketball.
They're
Be on the
just-
board.
they're too busy or too active.
So that's probably gonna take care of itself anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and there might be some that have aspirations to run in government or something that this might bring them in,
That's true.
the older ones.
That is true.
So what have we decided on when we're gonna leave the election time?
Well, they-
In March?
Mhm.
Is that what you think is best, James?
I would think so.
So can you make that change in that part and then go ahead and take this to the commission without having to come to us again?
No, we don't, once we leave here, we don't have to come back to this body. We can just take it to the commission and they can move forward with it.
I think March sounds good to me.
We're gonna roll in March. Anything else that y'all would like to bring up? That's basically it. I say, I just wanna apologize for this.
Well, I want to say one thing, if I can.
Yes.
I really appreciated the tour that we had at the youth center last time we met, so thanks for putting that together and giving us opportunity to meet out there and see what is offered for our kids.
And you're not on Facebook, so do you want to tell them about the Lowe's
Yeah.
stuff?
Lowe's approached me, I don't know, about 6 months ago. They wanted to do some stuff at the youth center, what they could help us with. So they came in and we kind of looked around in our game area. They put in carpet, so it's carpet glued in, all that kind of stuff. They brought in 2 couches, 2 nicer couches, and some chairs, an arcade game, and they also did some landscaping outside. Put in some bark and a little, like a little trail where the kids were cutting across one section to now. And we'll also be putting in fencing in the back to where, not like cover it all, but just in the back where the balls won't fall out. We just recently also got the seal put in on the old basketball court. And George and I met today, and he'll be ordering the backboards and getting that set up to get that set up for basketball outside.
And they also brought her some other tables for the snack bar.
Oh, yeah. The tables we currently had were, the kids, the little ones would sit and all their food would fall because they're so wibbly wobbly. And they brought us some card tables for now. Wibbly wobbly over there. Wobbly.
We had the same problem with them when they were new, so.
That's funny,
pretty
now,
good.
you guys. Oh, well, is there anything else?
I don't have anything else.
How about you, Herb? Bobby?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? We'll make that motion to adjourn. Well, yeah, we can make a motion to adjourn, please. He made that motion already.
Yeah, Bobby seconded it.
I'll second it.
So that means the meeting is adjourned.